Where you come from? Come from the New Temple Baptist Church. Pastor Dr. Jadolyn Goode is my pastor. They said, oh, you Johnny's boy. You Johnny's boy. I said, yes. Lady sat right there next to me and said, oh, you from John Good's church? Oh, you must go preach because he can preach. They assumed that not because of who I was, but because of who covered me. See, the reality is when I go to God and admit my mistake, I'm not going to him. Listen, I'm already covered because Christ has already covered me with his blood. I've been covered, so anytime I make a mistake, listen, you are covered. Look at your neighbor and say, I'm covered. You talk about me, I'm covered. What can wash away my sins? Nothing but the blood of Jesus. I'm covered. Which means I don't have to try to fix nothing. Because the reality is, the moment you try to fix something, you mess things up. Stop fixing it. Leave it alone. Give it to God. Listen, be honest. Sometimes we have to just come before God and say, you know what, Lord, I messed up. Is there anybody that can identify with that? You messed up some time ago, but you came to God and you were honest with him. Secondly, we see their concealment. They tried to play hide and seek. They said, uh-oh. We tried to cover ourselves. That ain't work. Now we got to go hide behind some trees. They're going to try to play hide and seek. Now, in one sense, I understand. But in the same token, I don't understand. Explain, Brother Preacher. I'll tell you why. We serve a holy God. A God who is purely holy. He is perfect and cannot dwell in the presence of sin. Let me see if I can call up a witness. Isaiah said, woe is me, for I am undone. Listen, he said, listen, I'm a man of unclean lips. When you get into the presence of God, you recognize how sinful you really are. But in the same token, how you gonna hide from him? If I go up to heaven, thou art there. If I make my bed in hell, thou art there. God is everywhere. Listen, you can hide from people, and you can fool people, but you can't fool God. Come on, look, there are people who specialize in fooling people. Come on, we see it most of us in the church. But listen, you can't get rid of a problem until you come clean with the problem. And you know what I recognize about God? I don't have to hide from him because he won't put me out there. People, let me tell you something. You do something wrong and you tell the wrong person, it'll end up in Mexico. I heard the hymnologist say, I must tell Jesus all of my struggles. I cannot bear these burdens alone. In other words, when I can't tell you, when I can't tell you, when I can't tell anybody, I can sure enough tell Jesus. Don't try to hide. Be honest. Be honest with God. That's what God wants. See, instead of running away from God, your sin ought to drive you closer to God. Because when I recognize how sinful I am, when I recognize that I'm not perfect, When I recognize that I make mistakes, I ought to come closer to God. Yes, you're going to make mistakes. That's human. You're not perfect. You are positionally holy, but you are conditionally still in the sin nature, dealing with the sin nature. And you have to die